Hey guys, my name is Chavedi, and I started this YouTube channel because I wanted to record. Sorry about that, guys. Still got the flu. Yes. As I was saying, my name is Chavedi Matule, and I started this YouTube channel because I want to record my journey. I feel like I'm in an upward spiral in life. So I want to record the journey of a man going from not the bottom, but from a low level in life all the way to the top, right? Whichever the top, whatever the top will be, wherever I'll end up, but yes, wherever I'll end up, but yes, basically, I started this YouTube channel to just record my journey and share it with people um, because I'm a self development person, and in my journey of self development, I found out a lot of things that really changed my life. So I want to share those things with as many people as possible, especially the guys out there. I feel like men's lives are in 2025. A lot of men's lives are just not. They don't have great lives. They're not motivated. They don't really know what's going on. They don't know who to look up to. They don't know who to listen to. They just don't know how to better their lives. So if anyone comes across my content, hopefully they'll learn something, hopefully they'll gain a lot of value and apply that into their lives and really elevate uh, elevate their state, and massively improve their life and become a more content person in general, right? So today, I'm still drinking my hot water because I still have a bit of the flu, but we will not back down. We do not back down to flu. We do not back down to flu, and we do not say that we are sick because we do not confirm or affirm that in our minds, right? We always have to come from a position of power, right? So let's talk about diet, guys. Diet is very important, if not one of the most important things that are gonna impact the way you think, you know. Like a lot of you guys, I used to have my diet used to be terrible. I used to eat a lot of takeaway foods, a lot of junk food, a lot of sugary foods, oily foods, just food that wasn't very healthy, you know. And when I mean healthy, I don't mean like you should be eating, everything that's on your plate should be green and should be grass and things like. No, I'm not talking about that when I say healthy. When I say healthy, I mean foods that are gonna help you be more productive, foods that are gonna give you more energy, foods that are not gonna be detrimental to your mental state, you know. So I used to eat a lot of foods that that just were not good for me. And I didn't know how to eat. Most of us in the beginning, we don't know how to eat, we don't know what to eat, right? So during my journey of personal development, I really focused on the diet aspect of things. Um, because that was a huge area for me. Because I always had those moments where after I eat, I feel sleepy, you know, I just don't have a lot of energy. Uh, my judgment would be clouded. I couldn't think, and I didn't really understand like why I got that feeling. Until I found out that there's certain foods that impact you in a or at least maybe not impact your body, but impact your your cognitive abilities in a negative way, right? So there will be foods like sugary foods. What else? Foods that are high in fiber, because even though on TV they would advertise fiber is good, fiber is the best thing you can ever have, but too much fiber is gonna slow you down because your stomach cannot fully digest fibrous foods. So it's gonna spend a lot of energy trying to digest that fiber, all of that fiber, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna take energy away from everywhere else, from your body, and just concentrate it on your stomach to try and digest that fiber, right? So that's how you're gonna get that. That's how you're gonna get that. That mental. How can I put it? Mental clouding, or that's how your judgment. How can I put it? Mm, that's how your mind is gonna be clouded, right? Because your body is gonna take away energy from everywhere else in your body and just concentrate it on trying to digest that food. So that's gonna slow you down massively. I used to eat. Uh, they call this food wheat bix. Yes, I used to eat that thinking that I was eating healthy, but every time after I eat that food, I would just slow down. I would feel sleepy, and I just couldn't snap out of that. Um, so I know most of you guys have issues like that. So mainly you get though that type of feeling when you eat too much in the morning. Um, when you eat foods that are very sugary in the morning, because when you eat sugary foods, you're gonna get that sugary spike where you have a lot of energy, then it's gonna come crashing down. And when it crashes down, that energy crashes down along with you and puts you to sleep, basically, right? What else? Foods that are too high in fiber. Maybe you can eat high fiber foods here and there, but maybe like once a week, or just visit them. Trust me, you know, in my experience, those foods they also slow you down and they have very little nutritional value, right? So yeah, you have to watch things like that. Don't overeat in the morning. Don't eat foods that are high in sugar. Don't eat foods that are high in fiber. What else? I think yeah, I think that's just about it. And also one other thing as well, you also need to always be at a calorie deficit, right? So you shouldn't eat, let's say for the whole day, you shouldn't eat more than what your body requires, because if you do that, then it's also going to cloud your mental judgment, right? So how that works is that how when you're fasting, let's say when you're fasting for the whole day for 24 hours and you're not eating anything, and you're so hungry, like, oh man, I just feel like laying down and not doing anything because of how hungry I am. But one advantage of fasting is that it gives you mental clarity. It gives you a lot of mental clarity, right? So you can only maintain that for the duration of the fast. But there's another way that you can still have that mental clarity for a long sustained period of time without to fast, yeah, without having to fast for like a day or 2 days or 3 days and then come back to eating, not in that way. So what you do is you have to eat at a calorie deficit. So if your body requires 2000 calories to maintain your body weight, you eat slightly less. And if you do that, you're gonna always be in that fasted state, right? So you're always going to have mental clarity. And when you have mental clarity, you can, everything you do is just better. Even when you speak, you can speak with a crystal clear mind, you know, and anything that you produce in general, it just becomes better. Sometimes I go on my Instagram and I look at my own videos, I'm like, man, my videos are just, they're just dope. I'll go back to them and just look at them. And I know people feel the same way about them, you know. Even sometimes when people will watch my reels on Instagram or my shorts and then they won't like them. They won't put a like or a comment or anything, but I know they enjoy them, because I look at them and I enjoy them, you know. So I know some of these people, they ask themselves, man, how is this guy producing like such great videos? I wish I could do that, you know. So one thing they don't understand is that because of, for example, the way I eat, I'm always in a fasted state. So in that fasted state, I always have mental clarity at all times. So it's easier for me to have deeper thoughts. And also, you know how when you are fasting, I don't know where the saying comes from. Maybe it's the Bible or whatever. But when you're fasting, that puts you closer to God. You know, that connection to God, it becomes a lot stronger because you don't have anything that's clouding your judgment or clouding your mind. When you're full, when your stomach is full, you cannot think. That really clouds your judgment, and you cannot. It severs that connection to God. Even other things as well. When you indulge too much in pleasures, that clouds your judgment and severs that connection to God. But let's just keep it on the topic of diet. So when you overeat, it's a it's an indulgence, it's pleasureful and it's an indulgence. So it's also a waste because your body is not gonna use all of that food. It's just there's a lot of excess there, right? So some of that food is just gonna turn into waste. But if you eat less or just about the right amount, your body is gonna utilize all of those nutrients properly. It's not gonna waste anything because already it's in a fasted state. So it knows that resources are scarce, so everything must be used properly and accordingly, and nothing should be wasted. That's why when you fast, you gain mental clarity and you can think properly. And also that puts you closer to God. So when you're in that state, everything that you produce, even if you write or you create something, let's say even maybe a video, a short or a reel, maybe like how I do it, everything of yours just becomes, it has sort of like this magic to it. I don't know what it is, but it just becomes more attractive. I think they call it high frequency. When you're in that fasted state, you're in a high frequency state. So in that high frequency state, you're so in tune with everything that when you cook to the best of your abilities, you know. So I found myself just looking at my race and I'm like, man, these are just too good. Like, oh, like how did I can't even fathom it. I don't even know. It's hard to even put in words. I don't even understand how I produced such great videos, you know. Um, yeah, it's very difficult to explain, but I definitely know it has a lot to do with being in that fasted state, because in that fasted state, that's when your spirit is elevated. You know, that's when your self of being is just at a different level. You know, that's when you're closer to God. That's when everything is aligned. I know this sounds airy fairy and all of that, but it's very difficult to explain. It's something that you really have to experience, you know. So, definitely watch your diet, guys. Your diet can definitely change your perspective of the world. When you're overeating, when you're eating sugary foods, unhealthy foods, junk food, your judgment becomes clouded and you just don't see the world fully for what it is, you know. Um, you're not in that enlightened state of mind. So you cannot fully comprehend everything. You cannot um, be in alignment with everything that you actually want. So definitely, do some research on diet, look at that. And I promise you that's gonna improve your life massively, just like it did improve my life, you know. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk with you guys about, See you guys. Peace.